Damn, boy, he thick. Hi. Hello. Oh, my lip hurts. Welcome back. I thought, in the spirit of all this Doctor Who celebration, or this new Doctor Who content that's been brought about by COVID-19, with every watch along we get a short story slash, whatever else they can think of. This time they decided to make a 13-minute long final episode for Sarah Jane Adventures, which I'm also filming something about today, so go check that out whenever that comes out. I don't know if that's coming out before this. I don't know. But in the spirit of all this Doctor Who stuff, I thought I'll finally get around to re-reviewing old Doctor Who, like modern Doctor Who, from Rose onwards. Now, I probably should be doing this once a week if I want to try and make any kind of headway. But right now, I'm not. I'm going to save that for when I don't have a lot of content. And at the moment, because I'm stuck indoors, and I have Netflix shows I can watch, my movie roundups that I do, I have Big Finish stories to review, I still have Drag Race at the moment. I just feel like there's no point in me doing these every week. So, at the moment, you'll get a modern Doctor Who re-review, whenever you do get one. Can't tell you when. Could be once a month, could be never a month, could be twice a week, who knows. But obviously that means today I'm starting with Rose. Yay! That was very sarcastic, yeah, I do apologise. Rose. It's not like something to be really proud of because it means nothing, but I remember watching... Well, I don't remember watching Rose, but, I do know that I did watch that first episode. I know that we've been watching Doctor Who since Rose aired, but my earliest memory is watching Aliens of London, so... I swear I did, unless my parents are lying to me. I have a friend who's a bit younger than me, and he, kind of missed out on all the lovely Doctor Who mania, because I would have been 2. I wouldn't have even turned 3 yet. I would have turned 3 after Series 1 aired. Pardon me. It would have been during. I think it would have been during when Season 1 was airing, I would have turned 3. Now, I have always enjoyed Rose. I think it's hard not to enjoy Rose, because there's just such a nostalgia factor, and a sentimental value attached to it. All these Doctor Who reviews are going to be biased in a way, because I feel like I'm just naturally going to look at the first, 4 seasons more fondly than everything else, because that's what I, grew up on. David Tennant is my Doctor in the sense that, although I first saw Christopher, my developing phases, from when I was 3 up until I was, 7, it was David Tennant. So that's kind of who I knew as the Doctor. So I'm just going to naturally look at it fondly and go, the good old days, and probably give every episode, a decent score. I did score them when I reviewed them on my blog, but I've completely forgotten. I'll probably give them different scores now. My opinion changes with the wind. I'm sorry. I just can't stick to an opinion. But... yeah, so honestly, when we get to the Matt Smith era, I'm probably going to be a lot more harsh. Just hate this, 5 out of 10. But I'm going to try and be as objective as possible. So this story is quite, I think, unique in that it is basically entirely told from Rose's perspective. I think we get to see a little bit of, Jackie and Mickey's perspective, but I don't think there's any scenes where we only get to see what the Doctor's thinking, seeing, and doing. We only get to see the Doctor when Rose is around, which I think is just such a brilliant... I think it's a perfect way to introduce a Doctor. And I feel like if they did it now, they'd be like, you're just copying Rose. But that's just such a good way to reinvent the show. Have a Doctor who's already established, they haven't just regenerated, and then have a companion who the audience gets to know this Doctor as the companion does. But I feel like now there's this insistence that every regeneration has to directly lead into the next era, the episodes, so it always is the TARDIS crashing and all that good stuff. And I feel like I honestly would maybe prefer just them regenerating, having a line, and then it ending, and then the next episode we get to see them after they've they've been this doctor for like a week. I don't know. I'm just kind of bored of the whole. Oh, I mean, the doctor didn't. Jodie didn't crash to Earth. She fell. Um, but yeah, I think this episode is very unique in that, like, when you think about it, the fact that every episode, especially with David Tennant, every opening Doctor Who episode for like a new Doctor is like, oh, I'm a bit dazed and confused from the regeneration energy. It makes it hard to get to know the Doctor because they're not fully cooked. Whereas Christopher Eccleston, bang, he knows. I feel like you know who his Doctor is immediately. I think he's one of the best actors to ever play the Doctor. He's one of my favourite Doctors because even in one season, he's the only Doctor who I don't think I needed time to warm up to. He is amazing from the get-go. Even William Hartnell's Doctor, I didn't love him immediately, and you're not meant to. It's that's how he's written. You're meant to grow sort of fond of him as he gets a bit less curmudgeon-y and a bit more sweet. Anyway, there's an element of cuddliness to him, as he's whacking people over the head, you know. But Christopher is just straight in there. He's so funny, but I think more so than any other Doctor, you can see how when he is funny, he's just covering up his trauma and his guilt. And this isn't me like talking about the whole season. I think this is all evident from just Rose alone. Ross T. Davies is an excellent writer. I mean, I think it's quite unheard of. Well, with a 13 episode season, Russell wrote 8 of the 13 episodes. I know Chris Chibnall writes like half of his seasons, but they're only 10 episodes. So I think more so than any other season, Series 1 feels really crafted and really controlled, and there's a lot of connecting threads and stuff. But if you just boil it down to Russell's writing for Rose, it's amazing. I think if I get to the titular character, I think Rose is a very controversial character, and I think I have a lot of interesting feelings about her character development, and I will say right now I definitely prefer her in Series 1. I think in Series 2, she's a bit... Surprisingly, she feels younger. She feels less mature. In this story, I think it's probably my favourite version of Rose. Like, I feel like in this episode in particular, she just... First of all, she feels real. She's meant to be 19, so she's only meant to be a year and a bit older than me. And I think the fact that the fact that she works at a shop, it's not like a great job. Her mum nagging her, I think Jackie Tyler is a great character. Obviously, she's not yet really likeable that much. She's just funny. But I think the dynamic is very important to Rose's character. And I think Rose is a perfect balance. She's curious of the Doctor, like who wouldn't be? But I don't know, I feel like she doesn't feel like one of those, like some episodes, some companions just are like, seem to just get with the programme just way too quickly. I like how Rose just is taken aback by things, you know, when her plastic boyfriend duplicate gets killed, she's like upset because she's like, is Mickey dead? You know, you didn't even think to ask or even question what happened to Mickey. You know, she questions the Doctor and his way of going about things, how he didn't even didn't even consider what had happened to Mickey. And I think she's got attitude. I think a load of companions like have attitude. I think most companions have attitude apart from the ones we have now, to be honest. They're like the only companions we've ever had who are very just sort of docile, like, yeah, whatever. Pretty attitudeless. But it's I think the way to describe Rose is just realistic. She's a very good character to project yourself onto because she has got a personality. Like we see her having fun at the beginning in the opening montage with Mickey. You know, I feel like she seems really down to earth, but she isn't too out there. I feel like Amy... Obviously, this is me dragging down. This is just me commenting. I think Amy is hard to project yourself onto, if that makes any sense, because of the way she encounters the Doctor, because of her personality. But Rose is a very good eye for the audience. She's a very good sort of audience surrogate. Also, Billie Piper is just really good. I think I always forget that Billie Piper doesn't speak like Rose. She has like a much sort of posher accent. And I'm like, it's very good. I mean, I feel like talking... I don't know, I always feel like that accent must be really difficult, because, like, you want to sound normal, you don't want to sound like, oh yeah, mate, hello. So, but she's very good at it. I mean, we get to see her in her iconic pink hoodie that they made an action figure of, where her arms are constantly frozen like this. So, that's a plus for this episode. The plot, is... I guess it's simple. I think I've noticed that in the Russell T the Russell T Davies era, if you boil down a lot of the plot, they're quite simple. I don't think Russell was as big a fan of the big timey-wimey episodes like Stephen Moffat was. I think he was a big fan of Earth Gets Invaded Again. And I think he was a lot better with sort of character work, Russell. He made this plot, because it's just... Rose has an incident where she gets attacked by mannequins. She goes looking for the doctor. These mannequin things replace her boyfriend with a duplicate to find out about the doctor, so we establish they know who the doctor is. Then Rose and the doctor run away, basically, and then go to their base, and then try to stop the big boss before the mannequins, like, across the country, or was it the globe or the country? I can't remember. Just attack everyone. There isn't a whole lot going on. But that's what I mean. I don't think complex plots... You don't want a complex plot for this kind of episode. You want a simpleness. You want a sort of back to basics. You want to establish what the show's about. Because this, more than any other series opener, it was bringing back the whole show. It wasn't just like, and this season, this is the tone we're going for, this is the themes, this is the overarching story arc. They were like, we need to know if we're going to get a second season. We need to know if this is going to be a success. We need to let them know what this show is about. Bang. Alien invasion on Earth. Actually, I think it's one of the few examples where they had the first story be an alien invasion rather than the last one. I never really thought about that. I never really thought about that, actually, how this series starts with an alien invasion rather than ending with one like they usually do. But it works. I actually think they should do more like this, because I think nowadays, the openers... They never tend to be invasions anymore. Not for the openers. They tend to make them very... small. They tend to be smaller scale nowadays, the openers. At least from series 10 onwards, I think. I mean, Spyfall wasn't. I guess not. But actually, I guess Spyfall was kind of a return. It was kind of the Kasavin were trying to invade Earth. And then the finale was not about an invasion of Earth. It comes around in a circle. Kumbaya. I always say kumbaya in my reviews. Don't really know why. So yeah, that I like the story. I've always said the writing is great. The direction by Keith Boak. I always forget to talk about the direction and the writers of the classic stories. I need to try and prove myself, but obviously I'm a lot better at just knowing who directs and writes these stories just off of my head, because I'm sad. But I think the direction is very good. First of all, I miss Confidential, which is unrelated, but please bring back a Doctor Who Confidential in some form. Like, they were so good, and I'm so mad that you can't buy the full ones. You can only get the mini ones that come on the DVD box sets, and it's like, they must have them somewhere. They should release a whole box set of the Confidentials. I mean, you have 6 series. I mean, even include the Doctor Who extra they did for, like, Series 8 and 9, I think, maybe, but they did it for Series 8. Just do what you want. Maybe edit together some new Confidential episodes. I don't get why they don't do Confidential. I mean, they do behind the scenes filming anyway, and they interview all the actors, so why not do a Confidential? Jesus, I mean, you want more. I mean, BBC 3, give them some content. But yeah, the Confidential in this one, there was this really funny bit where they show them trying to get when they're running on next to the river, and they want to get a shot with the buses going by, because it's London. Although, they film in Cardiff? I can't remember if they filmed that bit in Cardiff. They might have filmed that in London, actually, that bit. Possibly, because if that might have been when they were filming the bits in front of the London Eye. Although, was that actually really there? Was that, like, CG'd in? I don't know. Okay, this is why we need full Confidential. I need to find these things out. But yeah, I do like the direction. I like the sound design. Obviously, Murray Gold is, I think, now that we've have a new composer, we had the same composer for over 10 years, I think lots of people now reflect on, like, was Murray Gold even that good? And, the positives and negatives of Murray and Sagan, you know, trying to sort of compare them. And I think maybe I should just do a whole video about Marigold at some point. It sounds almost like a bell ringing, like a school bell. I can't even describe what it is, but there's just like one sort of sound they do in it, and I hope that people know what I'm talking about. It's like, okay, I don't know what. Okay, okay, if you don't know, I'm sorry, but I know what I'm thinking about. And the track going back to the scene where they're running next to the river with the buses next to them. That song that plays there, I love that one. So, I guess I'll get into supporting cast. Noel Clarke, Camille Cajuri, love it. Love them. Mickey is a bit of a simp in this episode. I mean, it's more so later, because at this point he is dating Rose. And they're funny, but like, I think it's always important to have a contrast between people who are ready to go travel with the Doctor and those who aren't. So I think Mickey served a good purpose of being this like scared little blob on the floor. I mean, and it's understandable. I mean, he got kidnapped by mannequins, while Rose is like ready to go. And I also think it was just important to show that like Rose has a life at home. She isn't. Maybe it's not a great life, you know. Obviously, a lot of people her age get bored. Like, I'm working at a shop. You know, what am I doing? I'm living with my mum still. I've got no plans to move out. You know. But like, she had a boyfriend. And I think that I never really thought about how it's very important that the show establishes she does have a life at home. But she actively decides to leave to travel with the Doctor. And I don't think Mickey has a whole lot to do in this episode. We get to him later. Noel's performance as the plastic version is hilarious to me. And obviously I mentioned Jackie Tyler serves a good purpose in Rose's character. And she is hilarious, you know. There's a strange man in my bedroom. That scene is one of the funniest things in all of Doctor Who to me. Whenever I watch that, I die. And I think she was also, her and Clive, I'll get to in a minute, were a good way to sort of, when the Doctor and Rose are like trying to, you know, stop the Nestine, when all the mannequins activate the Autons, having her be in danger, it adds a personal connection and it gives you more of a reason, not just all these faceless humans are getting killed, but we have this character who we know is going to die. And yeah, she nags a lot, but she doesn't deserve to get shot. Which is one of the reasons I rewatched Battle of Runscrav Kolos the other day. Not as bad as I remember, to be fair. It's actually not half bad. It's not great. It's not amazing. It's definitely not one of the best finales. But it's not as bad as I remember it being. And I think it's just because I've had time to mull it over, and I didn't have the expectations that weeks of consecutive Doctor Who will give you. But my problem is when he's like, I'm gonna like, what was he gonna like, shrink the Earth or put it in stasis, whatever he was doing. Like they have no cuts to even, like, you see the beam hitting the Earth, but you don't see anyone on Earth, not even faceless people that we don't even know as characters. You see no one in peril, so there's no reason to worry because you can't actually see any of the damage that's being done. And it seems that no one even notices the red beam, which is why I like this, because I'm like, oh no, not Jackie. I mean, she always gets gunned down by 3 brides. And that's a good editing bit where they cut down all the hands, and they cut between the hands opening, and like Rose saying what she's got. You know, no A-levels, no job, no future, whatever she says. I mean, I guess her literally just swinging over and basically knocking the anti-plastic out of that Auton's hand into the Nestine is a bit sort of like, well, that was a bit anticlimactic. But to be fair, they established it quite a bit earlier, of that what the anti-plastic was, and how it was like a contingency. It's like, if I can't get them to stop, I will be forced to use this. And that's what I like about, again, this Doctor, is obviously, he is, I would probably say, a bit more, at the beginning of the season, he's a lot more willing to, I think, kill and harm than other modern Doctors are. And I think part of his journey is by the end of the season, he's like, he can't do it. He can't kill the Earth, even if it does mean wiping out the Daleks. Whereas now, obviously, he's like, kind of, he's not as bad. But he retains, he doesn't want to do it. I think that's a very important part of the Doctor's character. Yes, this one is more willing to kill and harm if he has to, but he still doesn't want to do it. He still wants to negotiate. He still wants to try and find a peaceful solution. And I like that they use that to when he goes, I couldn't save them, I couldn't save anyone. It wasn't my fault. And that was also just genius. Like, the Nestine, who I will get to in a minute, having its backstory linked to the Doctor's backstory, which you wouldn't have necessarily thought about, because there's never really been any mention of their races having any kind of connection, obviously, in the classic series. Because of the Time War, basically, sort of, a lot of races that didn't have any kind of connection to the Time Lord still suffered. I think that was very smart on Russell's part. So I'll get to the Nestine and the Autons. I've been rambling for a while. But these reviews will be a lot. I feel like when I was doing my blog reviews for these episodes, they felt really short. But I feel like when you can talk about things and express yourself a bit more openly, I feel like it's a lot easier to talk about Doctor Who for a long time. And then the classic stories are the opposite. When I used to blog about them, I'd be like, pages and pages, and when I talk about it, I'm like, if I'm just going to be, like, real and relatable and honest, I don't have a whole lot to say. So the Nestine and the Autons. So I always forget, like, this is a perfect example. The first fucking villain they ever brought back was from the classic series. But it was perfectly explained what it was, what the Autons were. You don't know that they're from the classic series. You know the Doctor's met them before, but there's a load of alien races in the new series. We've never seen them on screen, an on-screen encounter before, but the Doctor's like, yeah, I know, I don't know, think of an example. That random thing from Rings of Akaten that barks like a dog. You knew that one. We've never seen them meet before. Why was that such a weird example to pick? I mean, I could have said cigarettes, I could have said anything. They're a simple concept. It's a Nestine, which is, I mean, it looks like a big molten bit of plastic or lava or something now, rather than a squid. But to be honest, any sort of big differences in appearance for species, like between classic and modern Who, the Time War meant their physiology was changed, blah, 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 blah. You know, just go with that. But the Autons, it's like, yeah, he can control it can control plastic, so plastic mannequins are the perfect army. You know, they're humanoid. Not sure how they get guns in their hands, but like, who knows? But that is, and also it has that great joke with like the breast implants, the idea of being killed by your own breasts. That is rather funny, and it's something they can get away with in 2005 family television. I don't think you could get a joke like that now. I mean, to be fair, it's like they say "bitch" in End of the World, and then literally I was like, whoa, that's 2005. But to be fair, they did say "bitch" in Which Is Familiar. I don't know. It's just so weird that sometimes, like every now and then, the BBC's just like, you know what? Bitch is family viewing. I do like the Nestine. Like, again, they don't have a whole lot of personality. I do think the Nestine, knowing what the Doctor is, and also this. I mean, I missed it, obviously, when I was younger. I wasn't really listening for it. But the Nestine says Time Lord, and then you sort of miss it. You don't really hear it. And I don't think anyone who doesn't know that the Doctor's a Time Lord, I don't think there's any way of hearing that and going, oh, it said Time Lord? Okay. But I think it's an interesting sort of Easter egg of once you then find out he's a Time Lord, you then go back and go, the Nestine said it, back in episode 1. Oh, that's cute. Yeah, I like that. They're a good villain. I think it's really odd and just sad that the Autons have never properly returned. I know they did come back for the series 5 finale, but they were overshadowed because like every villain was in the series 5 finale. And although we saw the Autons, we didn't see the Nestine. So also, is the Nestine consciousness just one creature, or are there other ones? But every time we just call it the Nestine consciousness. But like, is it the same one every time we meet them, or is it a different Nestine? Because we know it had a planet, but then in Rose, it's at least implied that this Nestine is its last of its kind. Maybe it survived. That's whole new questions I never even thought about. But I would very much like a new Auton story. I'm going to give it a 9. Now, I'm not going to give it a 10, because as much as I've said how well the simple story works and the simple villain works, it does still mean that it's got a simple story, a simple villain. The character work is great. I can't really think of any faults with it, to be honest. But it's not amazing. Oh, there's something attached to my coat and I have to get rid of it. Okay. It's not amazing. Like, I've seen better. And it's not me, like, it's not like putting down the story going, you're not good enough. But it's just, it's a 9 out of 10 is still a really high score. And I feel I'm generally going to give modern stories highest ratings than classic stories. I'm sorry. I'm biased. I'm sorry. To be fair though, did I give Genesis like a 9.5 on my blog, and that's what I'll probably give it again. See, the thing with classic Who is, I think, overall, I probably, if you like gave me a percentage of the stories I liked compared to the stories I disliked, I mean, the modern ones will probably be higher, but some of the classic ones that are really good, like the War Games and Genesis of the Daleks, they're fucking brilliant. Like, they're amazing. When they're good, they're amazing. So that's my piece. That's what I have to say on this. I've been filming this for half an hour, longer than I thought. So I hope you liked the video. If you did, like, subscribe. So I hope you guys are enjoying yourself. I hope you're safe. I hope you have a great time. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Calm down.